rewind and sing it.
But I died better than that. Swear you were always where I needed you to be, whether you were there or not there. I was close to that, but I lived better than that. If you ain't fucking with that, I don't care.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle, that is Mike, back to break down today's full 15-game slate for Labor Day.
That's right, and we get some early baseball, some all-day baseball, as I like to call it, on this holiday.
Yes, sir.
Guess that's a big thing here today. The main discrepancy really between DraftKings and FanDuel main slate. I think this is the second time all summer that they've done this, where DraftKings was early, FanDuel was late. So for those of you playing the free roll contests, they will be the early slates on both sites.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, because me and Mike were making some DK lines looking at it, and then I go over to FanDuel and I see that all their early games are broken up into slates. So you got the very early, which is 3 games. The I believe the early is 6, and then the afternoon is 4, and then the main is what, like 6, something like that.
On FanDuel?
Yeah, however many late games there are.
I think it's 5.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, you'd think that the main would have the most games, but that is not the case.
Maybe they just want to be different. Maybe they want to be different from FanDuel, or sometimes they just like to keep it the way it is, you know?
Yeah.
And keep it late on Mondays. Who knows? It is what it is. I'm excited to play. Nice day yesterday, so I'm excited to keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah, you took down a winner-take-all, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been playing those $1 winner-take-alls, just hoping to win one. You know, we always talk about if you play it every day and you win once every 2 months, you make your money back and
more. I mean, if you play 60 days in a row, you can go without cash and win once, and you are profiting $40.
Exactly. So it was nice, and I won by I had nobody in the late 2 games, the Arizona-Colorado game and the Texas, the Angels game, and I was up I don't know, I think 20-some points when that went in, and I ended up winning by a half a point. I was sweating big time, man, with the Angels had the bases loaded there. The dude came in and couldn't get a guy out. God.
Yeah, dude. That's fun. Yesterday was mad comfortable for me. I was cashing from the onslaught. I scored over 200 on FanDuel, which was nice. I've been playing head-to-heads. That has been my bread and butter. So what I do is I enter head-to-heads and then a GPP with every head-to-head I enter. And so yesterday I entered $190 in head-to-heads, and then $30 in GPPs on DK. And then I entered $50 of head-to-head on FanDuel and another $15 in GPP. Came out with $116 on FanDuel and almost $400 on DK. So telling you, man, especially the nice thing is when I'm playing these head-to-heads, a lot of the guys I'm playing, because on DK, I guess you can pick your opponent, but I just submit enter and it automatically picks one. I keep lining up against the same guys, and so when I do 4 head-to-heads, I'm playing the same guy. And it's huge risk, huge reward, right? Because I'm either winning everything or I'm winning nothing. There's really no hedging going on there because most guys play their same lineup. But I'm telling you, man, the head-to-heads I'm having success with, I have steadily built that bankroll up in baseball for football, because you only got to beat one person. And
that's what we're here for. I think, again, I said it, this is the place to come. If you want stuff for baseball, we are locked into a groove. If you're trying to build up your bankroll for football here this last and final week, get in with us, man. This is the way to do it. And we got, obviously, football. We're gearing up for football, too. We're not taking anything lightly. We're trying to do both and gear up for both.
Yeah. Football show is already out. We will be doing another one tomorrow. JC is doing a podcast as well. That was released last night, 4th and Inches. So check him out. Let him know. I see that video's already got 15 comments. So keep the feedback coming. Let him know what he's doing, then he'll answer all the questions you guys got.
Yeah, we talk about it, especially with football, how players get overly touted, overly hyped, unwarranted ownership. With all of these, because there's so many podcasts for football DFS, whereas for other sports there really isn't as many. Yeah. So if you want someone that's as genuine as they come, that's JC for you. There's no one better than him for that.
Yeah, you aren't lying. All right, so let's see here. I want to make sure we break it down in an appropriate set. So Kansas City, Detroit, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Philly, New York. If you're on FanDuel, that's your very early. That is part of the DK main. However, the DK main stops at
St. Louis, San Diego.
Okay, there you go. So we'll break it down. We'll do these 3 games. Obviously, that's FanDuel. And just keep in mind, up until St. Louis, San Diego is your main slate on DraftKings.
Yeah, these 3 games I believe are involved in a turbo slate on DraftKings as well. The 3 1:00 games.
Yep.
Maybe not.
They are the 3 1:00 games.
No, they're not involved in a turbo. I lied. Oops. But yeah, they're 3 1:00 games.
All right. Well, Jake Junis and Artie Lewicki. I know we're both high on Jake Junis. We've been high on him since he was struggling, right? His home run problem. You mentioned quite a few times that, super buy low option still is, really. And his numbers have never been as bad as they have been in the majors and the minors. So you see,
as far as the home runs,
yeah, you see him.
Everything else seems to have translated.
Yeah, well, the strikeouts and everything like that. I mean, that's especially over the last couple of days. That is now. I mean, he's over his last 3 starts, he's pitching to a 2.18 xFIP. So definitely the prospect that we saw in the minors, and not his first couple starts in the majors.
Yeah, I agree. I like his stuff, man. He's got a dirty slider. It's got a swinging strike rate close to 18% at the major league level. So he's got an out pitch. He's facing a team in Detroit that is not what it used to be. Their strikeout rate has creeped up to a top 5, top 10 team over the last week or 2.
Yeah.
And so I do like this play. Again, like you said, the price has crept up. Now he's high 7. But I do think Detroit is a solid matchup anymore, especially in this day game.
We know they struggle versus righties too.
Against a guy making his major league debut. So I like this play, man. I really do. I think it has some upside. He's got 7 and 8 strikeouts respectively in each of his last 2 games against the Rockies and the Rays, I believe it was. And like we said about the home runs, that has seemingly been a problem for him, and he's only given up 1 home run in his last 4 starts now. Last 5 starts, I'm sorry. So coming back to earth like I had predicted.
In a good way, coming back to earth.
Exactly. The balls are coming back to earth before they go out.
I'm with you on Junis. I like the play. Probably don't stack Kansas City against Lewicki. Just my thing against stacking against guys making their debuts, new pitchers. So, do you have any information on Lewicki? His minor league numbers?
Yeah. So in 2017 he started Double-A. Actually, most of his starts came in Double-A. 20 starts. Over those 20 starts, he had a K rate of 19.6%, ERA to xFIP of 376 to 362. So he pitched well.
Yeah.
Got called up to AAA, and in 5 starts, he's 5-0. His K rate has improved to 27% in those 5 starts, with an ERA of 2.03. So that is why he gets the call up now, with Fulmer probably getting shut down with his nerve tendonitis in his elbow, and Verlander now on the Astros. So I expect this not to be a spot start for Lewicki if he pitches, to a quality start or close to it.
All right, so let me ask you this. Royals, bottom 3 team in WOBA over the last 7 days. Actually dead last over the last 14. They have been dreadful. There is not a ton of K upside. We know that with the Royals. They don't strike out a ton. But he is, I believe, the cheapest pitcher on DraftKings.
Absolutely. I don't think he's even 5K.
So you can get anyone you want.
Yeah, I think if there was, if there was Corey Kluber was playing the White Sox today, I'd be more consideration for it. But I don't know. Just 20 starts, not having a 20% K rate in Double-A, that to me is a little concerning. But you don't really need strikeouts for him at 4,900. I just don't think you need the savings, really. There's not really that ace on this slate.
Wait, is it Kluber? No, it's Bauer today.
As I'm saying, if it was Kluber, I would be more in consideration. But it's not.
Oh, because you don't need the price.
See what I'm trying to say?
Gotcha.
Yeah. If Kluber was on the slate playing the White Sox, I'd be more thinking about Artie Loicky than I am.
I got you. I don't know, man. It's Baltimore and Cleveland are really, really expensive. And
yeah, I feel like this is your kind of play.
It really is, dude. I love paying up for the bats, and they're not cheap. And so because I'm looking at Bauer, I'm looking ahead with those Cleveland bats who've won 12 or 11 in a row, versus James Shields, and then Baltimore against Montgomery. Baltimore's the hottest team over the last month. Remain that way. They just keep hitting the ball well. They are in wild card contention, are they not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're playing for something. So yeah, I can see it, man. I think it's a lower. It's low risk for his price. Let's put it that way.
And if you want to talk pitch count, this guy is already up to 141 pitches in the minors. He has pitched his best ball. What did I say? Pitches.
Pitches.
Yeah, innings pitched. Sorry. And he's got 6+ Ks in each of his last 4 starts at Triple-A. And he's pitched into the 7th inning in each of his last 2 starts. So it doesn't seem like they're holding him back, really.
He should be loose then and good to go.
His last start was August 27th, which was last Sunday. So he should be very loose.
There you go. Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Chase Anderson, Homer Bailey. I think I'm going to stack Milwaukee on this FanDuel early slate. Not in consideration on the DraftKings slate for me. Not that it's not Homer Bailey. It's just Milwaukee's nothing scary right now. They've pretty much got themselves out of the playoff race. So
yeah, they got a big weekend coming up, man. I think with Colorado struggling the way they've been, they're kind of leaving the door open for one of the central teams to come into it. Milwaukee probably is that team, and they can gain some ground on the Cubs this weekend.
Yeah, I mean they got to play well. That's the thing, and they haven't been. So I think I do stack them, like I said, on the FanDuel slate. I don't know that I run to them on DraftKings. Bailey is a reverse splits guy, so I look at the righties here. Really like Santana, who's hot. Braun's cheap. Manny Pena. All the Brewers are cheap too, so you can get them easily. And then I actually like a game stack here. I think I'm going to be contrarian and stack against Chase Anderson. Only on the 3-game slate, not on DraftKings. But his numbers are not as good as he has been. He's got a 67% fly ball rate, which is not going to fare well in Cincinnati, and almost an xFIP of 6.
Is that since he returned?
In his last 3 starts.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Chase Anderson has been his very low whip and his suddenly higher K rate. Not a high K rate, really. Because he's always been a guy to somewhat initiate contact, really, whether it be on the ground or in the air. And he's pitching to a BABIP of 260, which makes his xFIP high. So I agree. There's some regression that would state that the balls continue to get put in play. Eventually, your whip is going to get higher than a 1.1, which it is currently. So balls in play in this ballpark or even in his home ballpark are generally not a good thing. I could see the argument of why you wouldn't want to pitch Chase Anderson. I definitely am not running to do it, but I could also see the argument of why you would not want to. And I don't know. Stacking against it is definitely contrarian. That's not something I was expecting.
It's worth noting that because I'm, again, only on FanDuel on a 3-game slate, I'm only playing a tournament line. And so it's just going to be different. I left like 3K on the table. So.
On a 3 games, okay, totally different perspective than the main on DraftKings. And then Homer Bailey, he does come out and have those surprise starts at 5,800 in a tournament lineup. If you're trying to find someone to pay down to, I don't mind that call.
Philly and New York, Mark Leiter Jr. and Rafael Montero, both guys pitching well of late. I think I would give the nod to Leiter here over Montero, but I still go Junis over Leiter. Me and Mike were debating that earlier, and he convinced me to go Leiter. I'm with him on the play. Detroit's slightly worse than New York over the last couple days. Junis has slightly better K upside, at least by the numbers. So,
yeah, I just think he's a slightly better pitcher overall. When I look at young guys, the rookies, I try to give the nod to someone who has been scouted and moved up quickly through the ranks, and is just a better overall prospect. Not saying Mark Leiter is not a good prospect, definitely is. I mean, obviously his uncle is Al Leiter, and he has come up quick through the Phillies system. And they've been known to develop some good young pitching. So I don't think it's bad play either way. We've seen what Leiter can do. Obviously, he had that one start where everybody played him in San Diego, and it didn't work out for anybody. So I could see people having a sour taste in their mouth, that being probably the last time he was widely started.
Yep.
But yeah, the Mets, similar to Detroit, are a team that is just trying to see what they have at this point. So that's September baseball for you. I think it's definitely a good matchup.
All right, so that's your FanDuel very early slate. This game starts the early slate, New York and Baltimore. Baltimore remains absolutely red hot. I don't have the standings in front of me. Do you know where they are in the wild card race? The exact positioning?
Yeah, I think they're a game out behind the Angels, but I know the Angels lost yesterday.
Yeah.
So let me see where it is. It's very close, and the Yankees, I mean, they can overtake the Yanks, I believe, if they swept them in this series. The Yankees have a 2-game lead over Minnesota, and Baltimore is 1.5 back of Minnesota and tied with the Angels.
Okay, there you go.
So they can't overtake the Yankees if they swept, unless it is a 4-game series, which I probably should know. It's just been a long weekend.
No, I feel it, man. I'm with you. Worth noting, Baltimore over the last 7 days has a hard contact rate of almost 45%. Pretty fantastic.
Absolutely.
They have been crushing at home, especially versus lefties. They have a 328 ISO and a 416 WOBA at home versus lefties in the last month. Jordan Montgomery's okay. I don't think he's anything special. Baltimore can definitely get to him. Like I said, they stay hot. They're playing for something here. Huge series for them.
It's a huge series for both teams, absolutely. And this is the start of a 9-game road trip, so it is only a 3-game slate for the Yankees, and they get Texas after they go to Texas after Baltimore.
That's right.
And so, I mean, the pitching has been keeping the Yanks in games. Obviously, they put up 9 last night. I don't know what it is when Chris Sale starts. The Yankees somehow do well. Yeah, so they need to get this offense going in 2 ballparks where it's easy to hit against 2 teams that have been hitting.
Yeah, I'm all over a Baltimore stack today. I'm going to ride the hot streak there. I just think it's a good spot. Dylan Bundy.
Wellington Castillo.
Also, for what it's worth, Manny Machado got his 12 home runs in August.
I know, dude. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
You called it.
Straight up called that. That's probably bold calls that don't generally come true, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Dylan Bundy had one of the best months for any pitcher this year, with what he did, a 35% K rate in his last couple starts, pitching to an under 3 xFIP. Over the last month, let me get the exact numbers for you. Dylan Bundy pitched to a 2.71 xFIP with a 36% K rate, and check this, an 18% swinging strike rate.
Nuts. 3 games of double-digit strikeouts at LA, at Oakland versus Seattle. And that is worth mentioning. The 5 teams he played in August: Kansas City, the Angels, 2 against Oakland, 1 against Seattle. So middling teams at best.
It is a new.
I don't know. What do you think, man? Are you buying the career high game? You know, he had career high 12 strikeouts, went a complete game, only gave up 1 hit in his last start. You know, I generally ride the momentum. That's generally how I face pitchers. I look at recent performance and I look at matchup overall.
That's all I do. I look at last 30 days and matchup.
And so recent performance is a pretty big check mark with Dylan Bundy, and the Yankees, you know, have been a pretty middling team, like I said, offensively. So I don't know. It's him or Bauer really in that price range on DraftKings.
Is it odd that I didn't even consider Bundy today? Like, I looked at him, and I see it, and I know his recent performance, and I just never once when I was building my lines was like, I need to play Dylan Bundy.
That's one of those gut feeling, yeah.
Yeah, gut fade for me. And speaking of Trevor Bauer, I do like him a lot versus Chicago. I plugged him in as my SP1 today. He's been pitching well. I think he possesses similar K upside, if not more, versus the White Sox than Bundy does versus the Yankees. So I think I'm just going to run Bauer for a little less on both sides and be happy with that call and play against a Chicago team that's not nearly as good or potent.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens here as far as ownership, just because people love to stream against the White Sox, and Bundy has been better than Bauer. So maybe as a tournament pivot, I'm thinking Bundy, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm all in on Bauer. That's me. And then a Cleveland stack against Shields. I know Shields has pitched okay, well enough that people were actually considering playing him last time. So I definitely not playing him today. Cleveland is extremely hot, but I am going to go 5 deep on Cleveland today. I already have him in my lineup, depending on who plays, but that's who I got.
Yeah, I mean, I stacked Cleveland yesterday. Obviously, we know how that worked out. They are, 12 in a row they've won now?
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously clicking on all cylinders at this point. And then James Shields, like I said, he had 4 quality starts, I think, in the month of August. So he has been pitching well, and this guy wasn't like James Holland, where he's never been good. Or Greg Holland, is it? Whatever his name is. Derek Holland, yeah. See, he's just not that good. James Holland. You know, James Shields has been pretty good, so could be a bit of a resurgent coming in here. He's no stranger to pitching, you know, full seasons as well. 35 years old, I believe. So I don't think I'm curious, man. It's what's gonna give, really. I think is he go back to where he was most of the season and just kind of runs into the buzzsaw that Cleveland is as they go to Chicago, or does he kind of limit the Indians lineup to 5 runs on 6 hits? You know,
see, I just don't think James Shields has ever been good. Like, I know he had that name, Big Game James or whatever. He
had a couple of good years. He had 1 good year with the Rays and 2 with the Royals.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, he was one of those guys that was always overhyped. Like, and I remember in the playoffs against I think he was with the Royals against the A's where he got blown up. Giants faced him and they blew him up. I don't know. He's just never been a good pitcher to me, minus those early years where he had like 1 or 2 good years.
I mean, you're not 35 in the majors if you haven't been okay, right?
Well, okay is not good.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about today. Like, if I'm stacking against him, I want him to be bad. I don't want him to be okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what he's been of late. He's been okay.
Yeah, but Cleveland just, I don't know. Cleveland's so good right now that I don't think that he's, I don't have a problem stacking against him.
Me neither. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's not as juicy as it once was.
Stratton and Bettis. I pitched Godley yesterday in Colorado. I think I'm going to pitch Stratton today for the price savings. Again, mentioned this a while back when he first started, and he has proved me right. Dude is pitching for a job that has been openly discussed. If he continues to pitch well, he will start the season in the rotation next year. Definitely pitching like it. He's got 2 10-plus K strikeout games this year. That is more than all other Giants pitchers combined. So
I know, right?
He is absolutely pitching lights out right now. Oh shit, Johnny won the $27 winner take all as well last night. $500. Congrats, sir.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, Chris Stratton, dude. Over the last month, 25% K rate, 10% swinging strike rate, 3.22 FIP, 1.52 ERA. I mean, everything is falling in line for him. Again, just pitching really, really well. Colorado, as you mentioned, stumbling a little bit of late. They are at home, but they are better versus lefties at home than righties. Again, just pure price play. I can get a lot of bats that I want, and it allows me on FanDuel, because I'm only pitching them on FanDuel, where it's that condensed slate. Stratton with Cleveland and Baltimore. So
yeah, a few things going in my. I agree with this play. Again, he falls in the same line with Leiter and Junis, in the same price range. I think it's a toss-up between the three. They both get a positive matchup, in my opinion. I think Stratton is probably the weariest of them, because we know what Colorado can do. They're just in a funk right now, whereas the Mets and Detroit just have terrible lineups out there. But yeah, like you said, Stratton's playing for a job. 100-plus pitches as well. And we know Bochy let's give him a run. So he's pitched 100.
Yeah, he'll give him all the
Yeah, so he's got 100-plus pitches in each of his last 3 starts, so that's not a concern. A little bit of a concern with the walks in his last game, and you're looking at his minor league numbers, he has had walk problems, so that is generally kind of par for the course now with these young pitchers and their 3 outcomes: strikeout, fly ball, walk. So it's just something we're going to have to get used to, I think, when you talk about young pitchers. But that last start where he went out and pitched well was in Arizona, and I mean, that is similar to the Coors Field effect, so I don't think that should shy you too much away. Now, how I would rank the 3, I still think
Stratton's last for me.
Stratton would be last, right? But he's also a little bit cheaper, so if you're in love with your lineup, as far as hitting, I don't mind if you need the savings, $500 savings from Junis. You know, I think Stratton would be okay. You know, I wouldn't change my whole lineup up to get up to Junis from Stratton.
Yeah. I got to show you something real quick because it reminded me of this. This is indicative of the Mets season.
This is just mean. The Mets have had we've been talking about the Mets and their problems since day 1 of this show, man. After Thor went down and then Harvey's whole thing.
The Phillies allowed to run in 6 innings.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Remember the self-diagnosed bicep/shoulder injury?
Tonight's game against the Houston.
Then,
apparently, it's not on here now. Can't find the fucking.
And then the Matt Harvey pretty much giving up on himself incident.
Fucking Matt Harvey, and then he goes out and gets destroyed by Houston. Whatever, I can't find that video. I don't care enough. But anyways, Wilmer Flores fucking fouled the ball off his face. Indicative of the Mets season.
That's just terrible.
So yeah.
Good Lord.
Giants against Bettis, by the way, in Colorado. Hard to stack them, but I mean, I guess if you want to.
The Giants are having a good week.
They are. So
for
I mean,
Giants.
It's doable.
They brought their OPS up from 585 to 685.
There you go. We're winning. Chicago and Pittsburgh, Jake Arrieta, Chad Kuhl. Jake Arrieta is pitching fantastic right now. The problem is not as much K upside as he used to have. Also gets a Pittsburgh team that strikes out the least at home versus righties. I just don't see a slate-breaking performance from Arrieta today. For his price, I don't think I'd go there. I think he's a good cash play, but not a GPP play for me. And then Chad Kuhl, he's not been great, not been terrible. Probably a fade on both sides for me.
What, the Cubs lineup?
Yeah.
Or it's Cool?
Both.
Or both?
Got both. Fade on both sides.
Yeah. I think I tend to agree with that statement. And then just to talk a little bit more about Arrieta, he has a documented 2.3 mile an hour velocity dip in his average fastball. And so this second half, he's actually performed well throwing his off-speed pitches more. You know, his ERA is under 1.8. He's got a batting average against under 180. He's only given up 5 home runs since June 27th. So he's been pitching a hell of a lot better since he started using his off-speed pitches more. However, his strikeout rate has gone down considerably. And so at 11,000, I mean, you can look to his last start versus Pittsburgh as it's kind of just exactly what we said here. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, did not allow a run, only struck out 4, and gave you 22 DraftKings points. Mm-hmm. You know, I could see something like that happening where he dominated in real life. In fact, he's only given up 2 earned runs over his last 4 starts. But he hasn't scored over 25 DraftKings points in any of them.
And that's not even that's not a bad start by any means. 22 points. It's just not what you want when you're paying all the way up for your pitcher.
Right, but also it could make for a very good safe play. You know, like if you're playing head-to-heads, it makes for a much safer play, in my opinion, than Carlos Martinez, $400 more than him, or even Dylan Bundy for that matter. I think he's just very consistent, and he's pitching for some money. He's come out and said he wants some big money in the offseason.
Probably his last big contract.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 games on this main slate for DraftKings: LA, Oakland, St. Louis, San Diego. Parker Bridwell, Chris Smith. I think you can definitely stack LA here against Oakland. They tear up on the road versus righties. This is that matchup. Chris Smith is not good at all. LA obviously playing for the playoffs. So I like some LA bats here again. And then Oakland, I could make a case to stack some Oakland bats. I like Chris Davis as a one-off. Maybe Matt Olson, power hitting first baseman.
Yeah, I think this could be a game stack here that not a lot of people are going to look at. Parker Bridwell got tagged for 7 earned runs, 2 homers in 3 innings in his last start against Oakland. Now they go to Oakland, where the A's have just hit a lot better as a team.
Yep.
Just curious, what is the weather like over there?
Right now it's fine. It's probably going to be hot as fuck again today.
Word. That makes me like the game stack here a lot more. And I agree. I think you can attack Chris Smith as well. He has given up a total of 18 earned runs in his last 4 starts. He has been bad. So I agree. I think this is definitely a game stack here. He's given up multiple home runs in 3 of his last 4 games, Chris Smith. And I know Parker Bridwell did garner some ownership in his last game after, a nice performance against Houston. But I don't know, man. I guess I'm more inclined to play the Angels than I am the A's, but I could see a game stack.
I'll definitely like Angels over A's as well. And then St. Louis, San Diego, we have Carlos Martinez and Luis Perdomo. Definitely can get behind some Carlos Martinez on the condensed slate on FanDuel. Don't know that I rush to play him on DraftKings, if the screen will cooperate. But I don't know. I just don't see the upside for his price as much. I don't see enough upside for his price. I kind of view him like Arrieta. I'm not saying there's not K upside here because there is. I just don't know that I'm paying all. I don't feel comfortable paying all the way up for him. And you guys know I never pay up for pitcher if I don't feel comfortable with it.
Ground ball pitcher helps out in this ballpark. His strikeout numbers haven't been there this second half to make the price worthy, but he has gone out and performed well on occasion. It just hasn't been consistent. So that's what I meant by I think Martinez has the higher upside and higher upside matchup, but it's just not a comfortable play in either format, in my opinion. I think you can get similar upside by paying down.
Agreed.
And I could also see him going out there and being the best play on the slate, but I don't know. I think I'd take the price savings and bet on the first argument.
Yeah, and then I could see some St. Louis lefties against Perdomo. Not going to pitch him. So
another heavy ground ball pitcher. I don't think I want to really stack against. Maybe pick out some hotter bats.
Yeah. I do not believe this game is on the DraftKings slate
either.
Besides the all day. It is on FanDuel's.
Right.
It is on FanDuel's afternoon slate. So Dallas Keuchel or Erasmo Ramirez. If you're playing that slate on FanDuel, Dallas Keuchel is my favorite pitcher on that slate. If you're on DraftKings, I'm not playing the all day just to throw Dallas Keuchel or the Astros against Ramirez here.
It depends. Let's see what Dallas Keuchel's price is. Because Seattle's been really bad.
They have been, but
96 or 10,600. I could get behind it if you wanted to play the all day for it. I don't know.
I don't see enough K upside to play the all day for it. Again, just for the price.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I do like Houston bats, of course. They are swinging well again, so that's a good sign. Heating up at the right time.
There is a 4-game afternoon slate that has that game on DraftKings.
There you go. Yeah, same thing on FanDuel. I don't know if it's the same games, but is that the last game on that slate?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it is the Pirates, Angels, Cardinals, Astros game?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yep, same on FanDuel. Minnesota, Tampa, Jose Barrios, and Alex Cobb. I really don't like Jose Barrios on the road, but he has pitched fantastic of late. I played him his last time out, and he was like 8% owned. That was beautiful. Also played Lucas Giolito last night. I've been streaming against the Rays for like a week now. It's done well for the most part. And I'm inclined to do it again on the main. On DraftKings.
You mean the night?
The main on FanDuel.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, I don't see why not, man. I think you look at, again, when we talk about recent performance and matchup, I mean, there's really not, I think if you talk about anybody on this entire day, I think Barrios might check those boxes a little bit better than anybody. He's refound his strikeout. The second I started talking to him up that he's not striking anybody out anymore, he's just destroyed it. He started striking people out again. So when I dug deep into that, I noticed that he's actually throwing his breaking ball pitch less. And so I'm trying to think like, okay, this guy's throwing his out pitch less but getting more strikeouts. How is that possible? And to me, it just adds deception. If he's throwing his changeup more and he's working his fastball and more and getting into strikeout counts and saving that pitch for his strikeout pitch, then hitters aren't seeing it earlier in count. It's not a get me over breaking ball like he was throwing it because it's such a nasty pitch. People, if the first time they're seeing it is in a strikeout count, I feel like that helps his strikeout percentage. So perhaps he's learning on how to use that pitch better. Because he was throwing it close to 36% of the time, and it's now down to 23% in this recent stretch here. So I think I can buy into that narrative, hoping that it continues here.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely like some Barrios. Cobb pitched well last start. Not going to attack Minnesota, though. Minnesota is the hottest team in baseball right now. So
yeah, they are, and they are coming for the playoffs big time, man. I think Molitor, is probably early candidate. Is it Molitor?
Yeah, it is. manager of the year. He's done a lot with that team, man. So props to him. Toronto, Boston, J Happ and Rick Porcello. Josh Donaldson one off here for me. No one else. And then J Happ against Boston. I'm looking at it. Boston's not hitting lefties well.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find somebody cheaper to pair with Jose Barrios, and so they pretty sure J Happ just played Boston, and it went pretty well. He didn't really get the DFS numbers he liked, but he only gave up 4 hits in 6 innings. So maybe you bet on a similar type performance with some more Ks coming, because he does have a nice strikeout percentage. It's a middling strikeout percentage, but it's not like I think he only had 2 strikeouts in that game. I think you could see a little bit of an uptick if he goes out and performs well. Perhaps no stranger to this Boston team. I think they know what he's going to do and he knows what they're going to do type thing. So I agree. I think it's a safer SP2 option.
Washington, Miami, we got AJ Cole, Adam Conley. Probably going to steer clear of both. Well, definitely I'm steering clear of both pitchers. Probably don't play Washington bats, though. I am looking at some Miami bats. AJ Cole, his numbers are a little deceptive. He's got a 30% hard contact rate and a 54% fly ball rate. Yet he hasn't given up a home run in his last 3 starts. I think that can change today. Especially there's a guy named Giancarlo Stanton that might have something to do with that.
I don't know, man. I'm actually looking to AJ Cole. I mean, you talk about recent performance and matchup. The Marlins have been struggling big time over the last week. They couldn't score more than 1 run against the Phillies bullpen really yesterday. Stanton is pretty much the guy, obviously, you worry about.
I look at him and Yelich as a 2-man.
Yeah, Yelich is hitting for average a lot lately, but if you look at overall, man, the Marlins have probably the worst numbers of any team in baseball over the last week. So for that reason, and because we just saw AJ Cole have a nice performance against the Mets, for what it's worth, I think he's another guy I could see myself pairing with Barrios.
Not on the AJ Cole train with you, but I can see that might change. I can see it. I can see your point. Miami is striking out 25% of the time over the last week, so there's some K upside there.
And I mean, it's not like they've been playing extremely tough pitching,
Yeah, no, I could see it.
Just had 4 games against Philly, so I don't know, man.
I can see it. I think you're onto something there.
There's no, I mean, if you talk about the bottom of that order, there's really not a lot going on.
And then finally, we got Texas, Atlanta, Arizona, Los Angeles. R.A. Dickey against Texas. Texas on the road, not a good thing for them. It is in Atlanta, but R.A. Dickey, I think this is a plus K matchup for him.
Yeah, I like this play, I think. I wonder how many people are going to chase that last start. But Texas, it's not a plus matchup overall, in my opinion. I think Texas is still coming in pretty hot. They still think they're in it. And they're kind of fighting, really.
Yeah, I could see it for a GPP play. You guys know I like Dickey as a GPP option. He always possesses that upside. And again, I think it's a plus K matchup with Texas. And then Andrew Cashner, not a guy I ever stack against. Doesn't strike anyone out. Will gladly walk half the lineup to get to the bat he wants to play. Just doesn't ever get blown up. So if he gets blown up, it's out of the norm. So it could happen, but not going to rush to stack there.
Yeah, both these pitchers had uncharacteristically awesome performances in their last start. Both of them had 30-plus DraftKings points. So, hey, man, it's there. I mean, Cashner's last one was against Houston.
Yeah.
So.
And then Arizona, Los Angeles, Robbie Ray and Rich Hill, 2 lefties. They actually just played, I believe, in Arizona. If I'm not mistaken. Rich Hill got blown up. Robbie Ray pitched well. Yes, he did. He did pitch well. I could see a repeat of that. Arizona has won 11 in a row. I would rather play Robbie Hill over Rich Hill again today.
Robbie Ray, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Would you rather play Robbie Ray over Jose Barrios is really the question that you need to ask yourself.
I don't think I would.
And I don't. Well, you already know the answer. For me, still not buying into Robbie Ray, even though he continues to impress.
At some
especially
point,
against the Dodgers.
At some point,
I will never.
I don't know why you hate this guy.
I don't know. Just not a fan. I think it's because he screams after every pitch.
So does
Have you ever watched that? Not to the extent that Robbie Ray does. Sounds like freaking Maria Sharapova out there.
Jesus.
And I think I'm all over Arizona stack again. I did this. I stacked against Rich Hill. I know generally they don't play lefties, but they don't play They don't play as well against lefties, and they don't play as well on the road. But the lefties in their lineup that usually play well against righties haven't been really playing that well. Descalso, Lamb, Peralta, and the righties have been really what's bringing them back with JD and Pollock and Drury and Goldie. So I think I'm back on it. I think, even though it is on the road.
Okay.
The Diamondbacks have been playing really well.
Won 11 in a row. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Well, that is where we are at. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We'll be back in River. We'll have an NFL show for you tomorrow morning. I'm back at work tomorrow, so I will do a write-up as I can. And we'll just keep it rolling, man. NFL starts a couple days, 4 days, 3 days, Thursday.
Can't wait, man. I'm excited. I drafted in my home league last night and felt like a pro. Just kind of destroyed that draft. So I'm excited, man. And then, so we'll be bringing you 3 NFL shows a week, I think is what we have preliminarily set up. And the days that we're not doing an NFL show, we will be doing a baseball show. I know we've been kind of up in the air with these shows of late, and I know people are kind of wondering what we're going to do. I know that Kyle's now started working, and obviously I'm working on the weekends. We have tried to figure out what would work best for us and for you guys as well. And that's kind of what we came up with. So
yeah, so we'll keep you updated as it goes. But of course we're always in River doing the thing. So
each of the NFL shows will be kind of differently set up differently.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, good luck today. Have a good Labor Day if you're barbecuing, whatever you're doing. We'll talk to you guys a little later, and happy cashing.
All right, guys.